Alejandro's book on its recommended reading.
I'm talking with Alejandro Gac-Artigas. He has written a book called Yo Alejandro. We'll find out a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes, but right now one of our viewers is on the line. Hi, what's your name?
William.
Okay, William, you have a question for Alejandro?
Yeah, how you doing, Alejandro?
Yeah.
What made you want to write this book? And I just like to, after you ask me this question, I'd just like to comment to you, because I feel I just want to ask him what made him write this book, and I have a comment to him also. Well,
make the comment, because after, and then he'll answer your question.
Okay, I want to commend you, young fella, because in this world, young people are considered the bad people in the world. But you keep up the good work, young fella, because you can write many books and make a lot of money in the near future, and you should be very, very proud of yourself, because young people out here are considered the bad people sometimes.
Well, some young people, but thank you for the call, and I agree with what you said. But to get back to the question, what made you write the book?
Well, weather's played a really, really big role in my life, and it first started when I was born. The winds in Holland, they actually were so fierce that they blew away our van. And then when I moved to America, to Georgia...
You were born in the Netherlands?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
And then when I moved to Georgia, there was a huge snowstorm with about 2 feet, which is really uncommon there.
Yeah.
And finally, here in New Jersey, last summer was really rainy, and so I had to stay inside a lot. And I started looking through old yearbooks, and the pictures brought back memories. And then I realized that discrimination happens to a lot of people, but they want to forget about it, and so they don't say anything about it. And for that reason, discrimination just keeps on happening, because the people who make fun of other people, some of them don't know it's harmful. And so if the people don't tell them, they'll never know, and it'll just keep on happening.
But how do you suggest people tell them?
Well, one way is definitely writing, to show them by that, and it shouldn't be violence, and shouldn't be like speaking back with insults.
But should you just look them in the eye and say, hey, that's very hurtful, what you just said?
For a lot of kids, it'd be really embarrassing to have to do that, but
yeah, I know.
They have to find their own way that they feel comfortable expressing themselves. Like for me, it was writing. For other people, it might be a different thing.
Now, Alejandro, do you want to be a writer? Do you want to continue to write? Do you want to write fiction as well as memoirs?
Yeah, I want to continue writing, and I want to go to Harvard and become a lawyer as well, because I like debates a lot.
So you have a lot of ambitions. Now, how has the book been received?
Well, as I said, like a lot of the kids are happy that I was able to write the book, and they said they felt a lot of the same ways. And actually, there was a girl in my school who thought that nothing I put in the book was real, that everything, the town I live in was just a town, and everybody was friends with everybody, and discrimination didn't happen. And then I pointed out that John, who was the kid in my school, was very, very poor, and many people made fun of him because of that. And she said that doesn't count. He was poor, as if that was an excuse. And so the problem is that people don't know what's right and that a lot of kids don't know what's right and what's wrong, what's hurtful, and that nothing really excuses discrimination.
Obviously, your parents taught you a lot.
Yeah.
Do you find that some of the kids who are not as aware of things as you are, perhaps their parents don't spend enough time with them or try to teach them what's right and what's wrong? They're too busy?
Yeah, a lot of the parents are too busy. They can't spend time with the kids with work. I know a lot of the kids whose parents get home at 10 o'clock and they're working from like 10 when the kids are in school. And that's really hurtful because the kids don't learn what's right and what's wrong. They kind of just pick up things that they see maybe on TV, on anything. And so they don't have like contact with their parents, and that's really important.
Do you watch a lot of television?
I don't watch television in my house.
At all?
At all. Because there's a lot of studying for school.
Yeah.
And I like to write, so television would just like eat up that time. And also I play soccer, so it's really
You put a little caveat there when you said you don't watch television in your house. I mean, you've seen it somewhere.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Where?
But friends' houses, not too often. I go to the movies sometimes.
Now, do your friends kid you a little bit about the fact that I'm sure a lot of their conversation has to do with things that they've seen on television, and you're drawing a blank on that?
Well, because the kids describe television so much and it just keeps on coming up over and over again, I can kind of imagine what it would be like, and I have seen the shows they talk about. Like if I'm over at a friend's house, we might watch like The Simpsons, and they talk about that a lot.
Yeah. So at least you've sampled it, and you know what they're talking about, even though you're not as into it as they are.
Yeah.
Are you writing something now? I mean, not as we sit here, because I see both your hands.
But I'm working on a new book. I want to work on a new book. It's just a collection of stories. I haven't really figured out a title or a topic.
Now, are these stories also memoirs, or are these stories you're making up?
No, they're fictional stories. One story is actually a memoir, but it's not mine. It's like a fictional memoir I made of another person. And so...
So you made up a life, another person,
yeah,
and a story for them?
From the point of view of another person.
Okay. Are you involved in that? Does their point of view include something that you did or said?
No. And it's a fictional person. So.
Yeah, but that would be fun if you did that.
Yeah.
Put yourself in a story from somebody else's point of view. You want me to write that down for you?
Write that down.
No charge, Alejandro. Thank you so much for coming by and talking with us. And I want to remind you folks, if you would like to meet this delightful young man, you can do that. Yo Alejandro is the name of the book, and he will be at Books Once Read in Atlantic Highlands on March the 22nd at 6:30 p.m. There's the phone number on your screen if you want a little more information. And I believe we have March 28th, Book Fair Middle School, and that's in West Long Branch. And the phone number is 732-229-5533. And another one, April 7th at noon at Museo del Barrio in New York City, 212-831-7272. Alejandro, thanks for coming.
Welcome.
And thanks to your parents who brought you, who obviously glory in your success and love you a whole lot.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Did you know the
stories of harassment